Yeah, furiously is probably the right word, actually. Yeah, good morning. Very warm welcome to RESi360, as Richard was saying. And we gather after an extraordinary fortnight, it feels like years, actually, in which we literally watched British history unfolding on the evening news. I had a small hand in some of that. I find myself at times sort of humming this tune. You know, sometimes you get like an earworm, you can't get the tune out of your head. And I was doing other things. I was sort of focused on actually what it was that I was humming. It was the national anthem. So I think it's time to move on a little bit anyway. It certainly does feel as though a page has turned. We saw the sun set on, as Richard was saying, on a beloved queen. But of course, you've also seen the dawning of a new king, and a new Prime Minister, a new cabinet with yet another new Housing Secretary, also called Clark. They've run out of names now. Simon Clark, the sixth in 4 years, and a new Housing Minister. Obviously, anyone who's been in this sector knows that we always have to have a new one of those. His name is Marcus Jones. I'm sure you'll remember that. The 12th in 12 years. There is and are a lot of news around at the moment. It's fitting, perhaps, that RESi has a new title, RESi360, and a new home in London after many happy years in Newport. I'm sure some of you will have made the trip down there. So we were the Prince of Wales in the Celtic manner, and we are now the King of England at the Royal Lancaster. I think this metaphor's probably run its course now, but there we are. So welcome to you all at this crossroads for Britain and the sector, because there are other huge challenges charging at us over the horizon: financial, political, legal, environmental. So much to talk about, so much to consider. We are, he said with fingers crossed, almost out of the pandemic's shadow. It's great that we can meet face to face. A handful of people are joining us online, so welcome to you. And I suspect that today we will be discussing how COVID has changed the way we do business and the kind of homes that we live in, perhaps forever. Whichever way you are participating, to get the first-class experience aboard the RESi train, you need to be on the Swap Card platform. See what I did there? Yes, if you haven't done it already, this is essential, really. I'm hoping that you have. You should have downloaded Swapcard onto your device from swapcard.com. We've got no any details, it's fine. You probably would, you know how to do it, don't you? Swapcard.com, get on there, and all the information is available for this year's RESi. You obviously pose your questions to speakers and panelists on the Q&A tab. It's all the clues are there. Actually, the organisers, this is analog, this bit. The organisers are very keen for you to submit some curveball questions for tomorrow's closing panel, in which I'll be talking to the money, basically, investors and bankers, in a session entitled "Where Does the Future Lie?" I don't quite know why we're doing it this way, but there is apparently a posing table? I don't know what it is. It's a table with one leg out there, and on the top of there a bit of paper, and you can actually use old-fashioned ink, or pencil, crayon, anything you like, to write your questions for this session tomorrow afternoon. Do that. I mean, you don't have to do it immediately. In fact, don't do it immediately. Stay for the first sessions. But during the course of the next sort of day and a half, please do put your questions in for that panel. Tomorrow afternoon, yes, that's tomorrow afternoon, but you can check out the whole agenda on Swapcard. You can prepare yourself, mentally and physically for what's to come. For instance, make sure you've had a look at the round tables. Have you all heard about the round tables? So that will be this afternoon. It's sort of like musical chairs. It could get quite tasty, I think. Basically, there are lots of different things. Those details are outside. Find out which, and on Swapcard, find out the table you want to be on. Locate it in the room. I think, after, you might want to sort of put some plans together exactly how you're going to get the right table. But, once you've got it, basically it's speed and mass, I think, is going to be required to get the chair to be in the right conversation. So anyway, that's a word to the wise. And Swap Card is also where I can indulge my love for instant polling. It's entirely anonymous, but it does mean that we can sort of get an idea of your thoughts and your priorities, your likes and dislikes. So let's do one now. I think, can you get your Swap Card device out? Now the organisers have come up with I think a pressing question for you all. So you go to the polling tab. What's your favourite beverage? Coffee, tea, gin. The limited choices perhaps tell us more about the question setter than anyone else. No names, Sophie, but those are the only 3 options for favourite drinks. And while we wait for everyone to express themselves through the medium of the beverage, I'd like to offer huge thanks to what I mustn't call sponsors. They are partners, ladies and gentlemen, partners of RESi 2022, without whom this conference would be impossible. So thank you to our platinum partners, Cortland and Savills. Gold partners, Barclays, Environment Bank, the Land Trust, Lloyds Bank, Matterport and RealPage. Silver partners, Egger, Local, Loft and Wifinity. Bronze partners, Apt, Ask, BRE Group and Wave Charge. As I say, this event is so important, particularly after the disruption of the pandemic and the changes sweeping across the nation right now. So the generosity of our partners is hugely appreciated. I should add that all the presentations at this year's RESi will be available on demand for a month after the event closes, so you can relive your favourite bits in the comfort of your own conservatory. It'll be very exciting in the weeks to come. Okay, looking at the poll results. Oh, there's a mixed room here. Coffee 41%, gin 34%, tea 25%. We're sort of moderately rock and roll, I'd say, on the basis of that. Okay, time for our first session, which poses the question, are we in for a rude awakening? Brexit, COVID, stagflation, Ukraine, likely recession. The impact of all these, as you will know only too well, are being felt right now by the residential sector. But what about the longer term effects? What can we expect? Well, with his ever popular and insightful session on where the market is today, it's my great pleasure to introduce the Director of Residential Research at Savills. Ladies and gentlemen, a big Royal Lancaster welcome for Lawrence Bowles.